All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the belated 2025, the year in cinema. I am Liz. You can find me at the information desk at the library. Joining me is my co-host Todd, and our third co-host for today, Ellie. We're just got to be the chaos agent trio, but we are going to talk about some stories both in film and the film industry of last year, as well as giving our top tens and the new feature we have going through our biggest disappointments of the year. I don't think our disappointments this year will be as visceral and profane as last year because, man, all three of those movies we hated with like
Again,
a fiery passion. This year is just, oh, come on.
I don't know. Again, like last year, mine kind of falls under I'm fascinated by this.
Well, you're
Not in
right.
a
Yeah,
good way.
Megalopolis is at least an interesting failure, but like, man, well, we don't have to get back into my hatred of Baby Girl. We all know how that went. I loved Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Now I'm not sure I ever want to see another movie by that director. I'm
Well,
like,
I hate to break it to you, she's got another one in the pipe.
well, I maybe this will be the tiebreaker. I'll give her another shot. Alrighty. Apology again. I am on my MacBook, so one sec. Play. Oh, one sec. Sorry about
So,
that.
so who's from out of town?
There we go. All right. So now why can I not? Oh, one sec. Okay, one more time. This will work. All right, here we go. 2025, the year in cinema. So what I have liked to do is start off with what the biggest box office hits of the year were. So we're going to start off with the American box office. Now, I know things have changed. So keep in mind when I made these lists, this was for the calendar year, meaning everything. This is as of December 31st, 2025. So, number one movie of the year in America was the Minecraft movie. There were a lot of preteens and teens who were really excited and really happy. There was the whole chicken jockey thing in the theater. I can't really say too much about this movie because I am not the target audience.
I'll
Um,
just say,
yeah.
watching the trailers for this, I really had it in my head like, this is going to crash and burn. I apparently have seriously underestimated the gaming market as far as film goes.
Well, yeah. Again, this just goes back to this is just not for me. And it's also for a different generation. There are children's movies that were coming out where I'm like, how did this make money? But I'm like, oh yeah, no, you are 40 years old. You do not know what children like anymore.
I didn't know what children liked when I was a child, and I really don't now.
Number
No, it
two,
is. It seems new and scary.
yep. Number two, Lilo and Stitch. Number three, Superman. Which I'm gonna come out here and say the new Superman is really good. It gave me good like Christopher Reeve vibe Superman feels. Number four, Jurassic World Rebirth. Man, dinosaurs still get people in. Number five, Zootopia 2, which is now, I think, officially become the highest grossing Pixar film of all time.
It's not a
Number
Pixar film.
six, what?
It's not a Pixar film.
Oh, Disney then. It's
Sorry.
computer animation, Ellie. Thank you. But I guess the highest grossing Disney film, Disney animated film of all time now.
Something like that.
Apparently, well, we'll look at this in the next slide. The overseas market for Zootopia is insane. Number
hmm
six, Wicked for Good. Number seven, Sinners. Number eight, The Fantastic Four. Number nine, that How to Train Your Dragon remake, which why do we need that? That movie is only 15 years old. Number 10, and again, keep in mind, this is as of December 31st, Avatar Fire and Ash. As Ellie pointed out when I initially showed her this slide, one original film, and that is Sinners, which we will talk about. But international, number one film in the world was a Chinese film called Zenatu with $2.2 billion dollars.
Good lord.
That was released here. I think it made under a million in its first weekend, like crashed and
Yeah.
burned here.
Well, they kind of stealthed the release on it too, so
Yeah.
it was like
it didn't get a big release, and it's also it is without question a movie very much built around Chinese culture and Chinese mythology.
Hmm.
So like I sincerely doubt your average American audience. It didn't get a very wide release, and they didn't really push it. So it might be good. Don't know. Haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, but I think with this, and we also see at number seven, Demon Slayer, which is a film that is a companion to an anime series from Japan,
Mm-hmm.
that we're seeing that while there are films that Hollywood produces, again, films are one of our biggest exports, the box office being what it is American films aren't always going to be the films that people want to see, especially in China, where for a while our movies were like the ones they looked forward to, but now since they have their own film industry, they're kind of like, an American film's coming, whatever, we can go see the films we've made.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Xena 2 is like, wow, what a in- interesting that that's the number one film when, for as long as I've been looking at box office stuff, it's been US produced movies. Number two, Zootopia 2. Speaking of China, apparently Zootopia is big in China.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
also same with Avatar, same with Lilo and Stitch.
they really like Avatar, for which they will never be forgiven. Um,
And yeah, Minecraft movies number five. People game all over the world. Jurassic Park once again. Just apparently dinosaurs. People will see it no matter what. Demon Slayer, How to Train Your Dragon, F1. A movie that was a modest hit here, made way more money overseas. And Superman at number 10. But the movie that was probably the biggest story of the year, not the highest grosser, but the movie that everyone was talking about, was Ryan Coogler's Sinners, which came out in April and immediately became a sensation.
mhm.
And in this is something we have not seen. This isn't quite Barbenheimer level of a technically original film making making that level of money, but you can also argue both Barbie and Oppenheimer had, you know, original is it's squishy because one is based on a real person, the other's based on a doll everyone knows.
There was also that had a tail going into it. Like Barbenheimer hype was building for months up to the release.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
with people like us who were like, why choose which one you see that weekend? You see them both. You see them on the same day.
You see them back to back.
Yeah, as we did. But this was their hype. There was hype for Sinners because number one, Ryan Coogler has a lot of goodwill because he's made good independent movies like Fruit or smaller movies like Fruitvale Station. Creed was really well received. The Black Panther movies, the first one's fantastic. The second one is unfortunately a victim of very real life circumstances that they had to work around.
Hmm.
um, but people were like, okay, this is Ryan Coogler's first original movie in a while, and it's not Disney. What's he doing? And the plot was kept pretty under wraps. The most people knew is takes place in the South. It's a period piece, and there's some vampires in it. So Todd and I went Thursday night, the night it opened in the IMAX, and it was packed. This was a 9:30 show. And we're just like this was the one that worked out for timing. I did not expect a 9:30 IMAX screening in New Hampshire to be that packed. But and
Wow.
then it's packed, we leave, we love it, and then the next day on the internet people are already talking about it and
Yeah.
the word of mouth grew really big to the point where the first weekend, again, this is a mid-April release, 48 million first weekend, which this is an R-rated movie, it's not an intellectual property film, and it went on to gross 368 million worldwide. Again, for an R-rated non-IP movie in this day and age is remarkable, especially when, like, my gosh, I feel a lot of people just be like, put it on Netflix, someone will see it.
This is also
Um,
where they kind of capitalized the hype. Like they had the 70 millimeter re-roll out. This got multiple re-releases over the course of the year.
oh yeah,
Hmm.
well, but this is because audiences actually wanted to see it, and I mean, yes, a lot of people saw the Minecraft movie, and I'm sure that like the kids who saw it were all talking about it, but in terms of a movie that seemed to capture the adults, this was the movie to capture the adults. okay, aside from Wicked, that captured the theater adults like you and me, Ellie. But
Shush, shush, you do not expose me. I've never heard of Wicked.
and it's become I was put so when I initially made this, I'm like, oh, this has become an awards contender, and now as of last Thursday or this past Thursday, it has set a new record for nominations for Academy Awards with 16, the most of any movie ever. I'm pretty sure somewhere James Cameron is quietly seething that a record was broken for Titanic. Look, don't get me wrong. I love Titanic. I like a lot of movies that James Cameron makes, but that guy has a real problem with other people surpassing his
Well,
successes.
He
and
does.
especially paired to the fact that this marked the end of his Best Picture streak of the past. I'd say a couple decades. Although to be fair, that's only like four movies worth.
Yeah. I just, the minute I saw that this got 16 nominations and broke Titanic and La La Land and All About Eve's record, but also Avatar Fire and Ash and get a Best Picture, and I'm like, oh boy, James Cameron won't be happy. Um, there was also some controversy surrounding this film, not for the film itself, but the opening weekend, Variety posted an article saying Sinners might have grossed a lot of money, but it's not a hit yet, and immediately started talking about how much it cost, which is about $90 million, and how much more it'll need to make to break even. Clearly it did, but a lot of people immediately said, okay, there are a lot of movies that don't make all of their money back the first weekend. Why are you singling out Sinners? Some people theorized it might have been due to the subject and the cast of the film, which I think is very valid, but I think the answer is not that. I think the answer is, I mean, people have to remember stuff like Variety and Hollywood Reporter, they're industry traits. These are things that the studio wants people to see and hear in many cases. And what studios want to just keep the studio executives want to keep cranking out intellectual property because that's easy. Versus Sinners being successful means, hey, maybe take a risk on somebody. So I think they were trying to kind of go like, oh no, downplay this. Also, Ryan Coogler had to deal with Warner Brothers, meaning in, I believe, 25 years, he owns the rights to this movie outright. And I think they're also trying to downplay that success for that reason. So yeah, I think it's money in this case that made that kind of inspired that story versus something worse. But yeah, Sinners is great. I'm trying not to talk about it too much because if you have not seen it, you should. It's a ride, and there's a reason it's on all three of our top tens.
In the same spot,
Other,
no less.
yeah. Oh yeah, same spot, all three of us. So the other big movie original hit of the year is K-pop Demon Hunters, an animated movie that was originally made for Sony. I mean, K-pop is huge. People love K-pop. I like K-pop. It's fun. I don't know what they're saying, but I can dance to it, or at least attempt to. Comes out and becomes a huge hit on Netflix, one of the most watched movies in their history, and then the music also becomes a big hit. And it's interesting because usually when Netflix has a hit for a movie, it's quick. It's a
Mm-hmm.
hit, it's talked about for a weekend or two, and then it kind of disappears into the ether. K-pop Demon Hunters has beaten that because it has become a consistent cultural presence since its release. When so at my library we do a little haunted house night. I saw so many K-pop Demon Hunter costumes. And there are, for Anime Boston, people are prepping K-pop Demon Hunter cosplays. There's K-pop Demon Hunter merch. This is something I haven't seen from a movie being successful on Netflix for a really long time. TV shows, yes. This is a little different. And they decided, hey, let's put this in a theater. It became the number one movie of that weekend. Everyone went.
So one thing that is kind of interesting, I think I'm still the only person of the three of us who's seen the movie.
We
Uh,
will pirate it eventually.
shh, shh, shh. Don't don't admit that. So like the one thing that's kind of interesting about it, and we'll get to my actual opinions on it as a movie later, but like one thing that does make it kind of interesting is that because it was made for Sony first, Netflix kind of has this rule, which you can see in a lot of their made for them movies, that you have to make sure every piece of important information has to be conveyed entirely through dialogue, and it has to be conveyed at least twice.
Yep.
Because they're assuming you're not watching with your whole attention. And while whatever my problems with K-pop Demon Hunter is a movie, it doesn't do this. You actually have to watch the movie, which I think does actually contribute to the way people have responded to it, because it's good to have a movie where like, no, pay attention, stuff's happening on screen. There's
All I
some
know is I
reasonably
like
good animation.
Yeah, I do like the styling for the girl with the red hair. I'm like, I don't know. Every screenshot of her I've seen, I'm like, she's got an energy I like.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, but moving on, kind of segueing into this, the idea of do audiences still want original films? So of course we see what makes the most money at the box office are mostly IP films. And earlier this year, I know, Ellie, I just heard your exasperated sigh. But that does not mean that audiences have completely abandoned original movies. Sometimes it's just like, what do they want to go to the theater for? And also what gets advertised. So in April, Wall Street Journal has this article called Hollywood is Cranking Out Original Movies. Audiences aren't showing up. So they talked about movies like Fly Me to the Moon, Mickey 17, which I will say this as someone who likes Mickey 17. Warner Brothers did a poor job of
Terrible
advertising.
rollout with that movie.
Terrible.
Point of order against Wall Street Journal. That's actually an adaptation.
It is,
Well,
yes.
I think what they're saying is just like anything that's not a big, like a very highly known IP. Also, Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag came out. That didn't make a ton of money, which I don't know how. Who doesn't want to look at Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett for 90 minutes?
I will note that one of the movies you noted they put in there, Red One, as I saw like maybe 2/3 of that movie before I shut it off. It looked the advertising campaign made it look like a fake movie they would put in the background of an Entourage like gag, like where someone's walking past a bunch of fake movie posters, and that is too kind a description of it. Unwatchable.
Having been subject to that trailer multiple times, yeah, that's actually the most perfect way I've heard the movie described that it sounds like.
Yeah.
Unwatchable.
It's almost two notches shy of a 30 Rock joke.
But one of the things, so they interviewed a lot of the theater owners, and they pointed to, as I kind of said with Mickey 17, like a lot of these movies are not advertised. The studios are now pouring a lot of their money into advertising the movies with a built-in audience, even though if you have a built-in audience, you might want to realize, okay, people will see this either way. Maybe advertise another movie. And this was not even in the article at all, and this was something when I saw it on Reddit, because there was a very nice sub that just posted the entire article, because for whatever reason, archive.org was not letting me do the paywall bypass for the Wall Street Journal. Life hacks! People said movies used to stay in theaters for a lot longer, so even if they didn't do well, there might be a chance for them to find an audience. And a good example of that was 2 years ago with the Disney film Elemental. It did not do well in its initial week. It underperformed. Disney kept it in there because they figured it's a children's movie. It's summer. People will want to take their kids to something.
And they didn't have anything else in theaters at the time.
Yeah. And guess what? Elemental ended up becoming like a sleeper hit. Not a full-on success, but it ended up making money. Because Disney just said, keep it in the theaters. Enough people will eventually go. So that is also something that's affecting the gross of these movies. If you have a movie and they're just like, oh, it didn't make a ton of money the first week and pull it out, what about everyone who left going, oh, that movie's really good, you should go watch it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's actually what I've kind of seen happening with Primate, where a lot of horror fans are like, hey, yeah, it's 89 minutes of exactly what you expect from this movie. So word of mouth helps these films kind of stay alive in a way. And then, of course, just in terms of chronology, that article came out in early April, a couple of weeks before Sinners came out and became a hit, and then later in the year we see K-pop Demon Hunters, F1, Marty Supreme, Weapons, all become very big hits. And then you have stuff like Companion, Materialists, and Together, which they're modest hits. They make money. So again, this idea of people don't want to watch original movies, I am convinced that this is stuff that just studio executives are trying to float. So they're like, we don't want to fund anything original ever.
PSYOP.
Exactly. Thank you. And speaking of original movies, I just got to take a quick minute to give a shout out to Amy Madigan, who this year became everyone's favorite aunt, just like back in 1967 when Ruth Gordon became everyone's favorite Satanist neighbor in Rosemary's Baby. If you have not seen Weapons, spoiler alert, unfortunately, but Amy Madigan plays. This is how the director described her: a witch by way of Boca Raton, like a very like bright colors, flashy suits, and playing, I think, a really great menacing villain. And now she's got an Academy Award nomination for it, and I love everyone nominated in that category, but I want Wamuni Masaku to win. I don't think she's going to. I think it's between Madigan and Tiana Taylor, and I'm now kind of like, I kind of want Madigan to win just for a horror win.
It feels like the heat is really on Madigan at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anywho, this slides for me and Ellie. So, neither of us are normal when it comes to Wicked.
I've not seen it 3 times on Broadway. You shut up.
We both love this musical. Todd has been not indoctrinated, but Todd has seen both of them now.
Yeah.
Sorry about that second half.
Well, so
honestly, it wasn't that bad. It's one where I know there's people who are saying the whole thing about like it was as magical as the first. I kind of like no, that feels like that's the point. It's the mask is off of Oz, and that's just you're now seeing the world as it is.
Yeah, I just my problem with it is just that like it has like 3 good songs, and I don't really like As Long As You're Mine, so like 2 good songs.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Kids, I will separate you.
Okay.
We are separated.
I'll find a way to make it more so.
Well, but what was interesting about this was when they were talking about the Wicked advertising blitz for 2024, they're like, yeah, we have trailers. What we're really going to do is make this more of an advertising blitz. They're like, we want their faces on every single product out there. So hairbrushes, nail polish. Heck, I'm drinking from an Elphaba glass right now. So we kind of see it, like for me, the advertising blitz for this actually reminded me of advertising blitzes for films back in the 90s and the early aughts. I was like, I haven't seen an well, we did see this for Barbie. Barbie is the only other one I've really seen it for. But in terms of an all-out, cover all of your bases, merchandise as much as you can, when is the last time we saw that for a movie? And I can't think of one off the top of my head, which is really, it shows how much the industry has changed in the past few decades. I mean, like something like Jurassic Park would be everywhere.
You're not going to like the answer I have.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's Batman v Superman.
Oh, goodness, you're right. Oh, wow. Nope, you're right.
I will say they definitely didn't do the all-out ad blitz for Wicked for Good, and I know that because they didn't even deck out the S train to look like the train again. They decked out the S train for Tron Ares.
Oh, boo!
Oh, that's money they're not getting back.
I get so jealous that you live in New York, by the way. Just like...
I don't live in New York. I live in Connecticut. I commute to New York.
You work in New York. You get to see this cool stuff.
Anyway.
But yeah, as both Ellie and I being big Wicked fans, I can also speak with another person I know who's a big Wicked fan. I feel like fans of the musical are very forgiving of For Good, because we just went in knowing, yeah, we know Act 2 isn't as good. We still love Wicked. We're just gonna watch it.
I mean, they did do some alterations, and who can say if they changed it for the better? Okay, I'm not doing the whole bit. I'm not doing the whole bit.
It's fine. I do love that after the movie came out, all of the memes of Dorothy being locked in the basement, going, why is the nice witch singing with the mean witch? What's happening here?
Are they married? What am I missing here?
Am I going to be killed, or are you two going to make out? Where is this going?
Can I just tell you a quick Netflix story? I know I may have told you this before, but A couple years ago, maybe 2 years, was the 100th anniversary of The Great Gatsby, and the film industry was looking for a modern adaptation. So my son wrote this book. I think I gave it to the Dairy Library. It's called Jay the Great, Jay, and Jay is a woman, and it's a terrific story, very contemporary. And Netflix bought the rights to it. And so we were all excited. They were making plans to send him out to Hollywood and, get started on everything. And then they said, never mind, we changed our mind. We don't really have the money to do it. And so
they have enough money to buy Warner Brothers.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, this didn't have to be a, major money making, but it just was for us lowly people, to have his book chosen. And the book is great, and I think it would have made a great film, but they really got our hopes up, and he did get paid, for what
at least there's done. That.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we are going to talk about, we're not getting there yet, but when we are going to talk about Warner Brothers and Netflix. That's one of my big worries. So on the next slide, 2024 movies got really gay, and this year movies got really political.
So this year they have to be really gay and really political.
I was about to say, I hope going forward, it's just filmmakers, make it gayer, make it more political. Just be out there with it. I always like art that just decides I am doing what I want, and I don't care if you like it. Which is why I kind of have a soft spot in my heart for Emerald Fennell. I think her movies. I think Saltburn kind of achieves camp, but that's a discussion for another day. So we had Nikki 17, which is a very good science fiction film about how corporations and particularly like tech oligarch types see lowly workers as disposable, in some cases literally. We had Eddington, which is Ari Aster's. I feel like this movie should come a bit with a content warning because it takes place in spring, summer of 2020, and it's really about this fictional town where everyone just lost their minds. It's supposed to be a macrocosm of how everyone lost their minds during the pandemic. Then we had The Long Walk, which is the long-awaited adaptation of the Stephen King book. I'm going to let Todd talk about that one because he's the big Stephen King fan. We had One Battle After Another, which there are some people who said, I don't think the politics of that movie were clear, which I don't know how that happens. But okay. We had Begonia, which is a remake of a South Korean film called Save the Green Planet. We had Edgar Wright's adaptation of The Running Man, which brought back the politics of the original story, based on Todd. Well, again, based on what Todd says. And there are moments in Wicked, which there is a song that they added for Wicked, which is very clearly like, oh, Cynthia and Steven Schwartz wrote this with people right now in mind. Oh, I didn't mind that song.
I didn't mind it. I have a innate suspicion of musical adaptations adding songs.
Oh yeah, it's a
very calculated play.
Yeah, but I also felt a song telling oppressed people of a land like, hey, this is your land too, this is your home, and you should try to fight for it. I'm like, it was a nice message to have. And if you saw the new Superman, there's a couple things in there where I'm like, wow, this is very pointed, despite James Gunn saying, like, I swear to God, this was not inspired by something.
He said it wasn't. He said that the whole subplot with I don't remember the name of the fictional
character. I almost wanted to call it Begonia, and I'm like, it's not Begonia.
It was Baravia and Jaranpur.
That was not inspired by what's going on, right? Like, the obvious thing. He said that was inspired by Russia and Ukraine.
Which I can also see, but
that's also political.
That's also political, but then there's other things where I'm like, I don't know, man. Whatever you say, James Gunn. Also, the idea of Lex Luthor being a tech bro with a very inflated sense of self. I'm like, wow, whomst does this remind us all of?
A tech bro who basically admits, I started an international incident expressly to get back at one guy.
I just, speaking of 30 Rock, because I feel like we make 30 Rock references a lot, whenever I see things like that, both in movies or real life, I just think of Jack's nanny when she just says, "You people have too much money."
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is whenever I hear people go like, "Oh, American films, they're not challenging. It's all pablum." I'm like, "Well, look beyond the multiplex sometimes. There's a lot of good stuff out there." Although again, Eddington might give you anxiety, but I respond to Ari Aster's anxiety.
Honestly, one battle after another gave me anxiety. Having knowing some
Ari
stuff that I
Aster.
know, that movie's a documentary. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but you said something where I was just like, I see an Ari Aster movie and my neurons immediately start firing.
They do.
Yep. All right, so we are getting back to Netflix. What is happening with Warner Brothers? So Warner Brothers had a really good year. They had multiple hits with stuff like Sinners. They had stuff like Weapons. Also, I think the Minecraft movie was Warner Brothers as well, or an imprint of Warner Brothers. However, they were put up for sale. Apparently the only reason you should see a movie now is to make money, so the people who own the studio can sell it to someone else. So Netflix won the day in 2025 with a $72 billion bid. Again, as people pointed out, wait a minute, we couldn't share passwords, but you have $72 billion to buy Warner Brothers. What's going on, Netflix?
Well, I mean, that then goes into the whole thing about how a lot of these tech companies will spend decades plus operating in the red just because they have a disposable income.
Yeah. And then Paramount has counter-offered it with 1.8 billion, but Warner Brothers has rejected it. There have been a number of different offers that Paramount has given. Warner Brothers has rejected them all, and I believe as of now, Warner Brothers is actually, or no, Paramount is trying to sue Warner Brothers. It's almost becoming a "you have to let us purchase you." We'll see. I'm just going to be on the side of I don't think anything is good when half of our intellectual property and multiple TV channels and multiple film studios are only owned by a small group of people.
Industry shrinking is never good. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, no.
also not encouraging that Paramount is doing this with the Santan. They've openly expressed repeated intention to blackmail certain actors for their political views.
Yeah, no,
Well, blacklist is the
it's not good, and there's a reason that all of pretty much all of the guilds in Hollywood have said like this is bad. There's already a big hiring problem in Hollywood and LA in particular, even Atlanta, because all the places that they used to film, they're all going overseas now to film. So all of the industry people that live there, they're like, I can't just pack up and move. So they're having those concerns. And then theater owners are also concerned because Netflix barely puts a lot of their films out in theaters, if they put them out at all, or if they do put them out, it's for a very limited window. So Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein was only in theaters for what, 2 weekends, and then it went to Netflix.
Yeah.
1 week for Wake Up Dead Man. Yeah.
There has been a whole fascinating tug of war between Netflix and the Academy where Netflix tries to do the bare minimum to qualify, and the Academy then decides, okay, we're going to up the qualifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, whoever wins, unfortunately, I believe viewers are going to lose because for the people that own these companies, they don't care about the art. For them, it's all a money-making game. And, now, art for art's sake, everybody. Speaking of, oh God, this isn't good for anybody, AI in Hollywood. So as AI, or I should say AI companies try to convince everyday people that AI should be used all the time. Not a fan, personally, in case you can't tell. AI in Hollywood became something that I don't think it's hit a flashpoint yet because it's being so roundly rejected by a lot of the people there. But there were a few stories that came out. So the big one being The Brutalist, it was revealed that AI was used to kind of perfect the accents for Adrian Brody and a few other actors, which that's something where I'm like, I'm willing to hear both sides of that debate. Also, like AI has been used for effects to kind of like, oh, I want to fix that eye color or something. but there has started to be like, okay, well then where do we draw the line? And that's been a big industry conversation. And then there was the announcement of Tilly Norwood, an AI generated actress, which pretty much every actor and a lot of directors said that's not an actress because that's not a human being. That's not a person. That's a program.
Also, then hearing like, wow, some of the pro arguments for this sound incredibly creepy.
They invented a woman and immediately decided to sexually harass her.
It's
Uh,
oof, yeah, that was one of the op-eds I heard was like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind watching Tilly Norwood because I wouldn't have to worry about certain things about her." And I'm like, "What an odd thing to say."
I mean, they're basically selling this on it's Hollywood talent to all those pesky opinions in politics.
Yeah, but you know what else you need to have in order to have talent? Like a working brain and a heart and stuff.
An
well, there I
actual
go.
developed emotional spectrum that helps.
There I really go. Jeez.
Ellie, stop. Then Disney Plus that they said they would allow their IP to be used in generative AI with but that has also pretty much fallen on its face, which I'm going to take that
It's
as a
like
win.
based off the it's like anybody who's been on the internet saw that and immediately heard the monkey's paw finger curling.
Yeah. But for the most part, the reaction in Hollywood has just been absolutely not. Like, there's a discussion to be had as to how AI could be used, I guess, on the technical angle, but they're like, when it comes to replacing full practical effects, full makeup, actors, writers. Have you ever seen it read an AI generated script? There was the AI generated 30 Rock script that went around, and I think a part of my soul died.
They're not good. No,
No,
they're not good.
No.
and I'll say this. I'm not going to say every single movie a person makes is great and watchable. We've all seen The Room. We've all seen a bad movie. But for me,
He's
even a bad movie is more interesting if it's made by a real person.
like, let's be honest. AI wishes it could make something as uniquely misfired as The Room.
Okay. AI could never make Showgirls.
But like even outside of like make the quality of the movies, like you go to an AI and you ask it, could you mash together '90s club culture, Ghost in the Shell, and cyberpunk media? You're gonna get like a weird Ghost in the Shell knockoff where everyone's wearing trench coats. You're never gonna get those mashed together to make the Matrix.
Yeah,
That's just not how that works.
For lack of
you
a way
need
to put
people.
this, it's like for lack of a way to put this, this would be what everybody accuses Quentin Tarantino without having any of his personality behind it.
I could do a little less of Quentin Tarantino's personality, but
I was
damn.
about to say, yeah. Leave
I'm
Paul Dano alone.
On the one hand, we wouldn't get a lot of Quentin Tarantino's unique opinions on things. On the other hand, probably fewer shots of the actress's feet. Uh,
But it's like we wouldn't have that. Okay, you're just basically taking all the things you love and putting them in a blender.
yeah, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like again, as well as like for better or worse, you're at least putting your own spin on it. I don't like all of the spin, but at least it's there.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, moving on. 2025, the stealth Stephen King year. So as we discussed in Stephen King on Film a couple of months ago, man, there's a lot going on this year. Four theatrical releases. So we had The Monkey in February, we had The Life of Chuck in June, The Long Walk in September, The Running Man in November, and if we're counting TV, there was also It, Welcome to Derry, which I feel, since I'm at the Derry Public Library, I need to tell everybody there is no Derry, Maine, and Derry, New Hampshire has no connections to those books. Please stop contacting us. I'm not kidding. We have gotten people asking, and we're like, no,
Okay,
we don't
but
have a plan.
do
We don't
you
have a
have
clown.
murderous clowns though?
We do not have a murderous clown in town, as far as I know.
It's like Ellie, this is America in the 2020s. There's murderous clowns everywhere.
But
Highest level of government.
Todd, as our resident Stephen King fan, which of these movies would you say is the best one?
Honestly, I guess like I liked all four of these. If you put it to me, I have to go with The Long Walk on this one.
Agreed.
Although
Although there's a moment, there are so many moments in The Monkey where I just watch it and I'm like, this is made for someone specifically like me. Thank you, Osgood Perkins.
so again, that's the interesting. Like there is a weird split in these adaptations. During the first half of the year, you had two. It's these were two very different adaptations by two very distinct directors with different voices, Mike Flanagan and Oz Perkins. They took two very different stories, two very different approaches to their stories, but at the core of each one is this narrative thread of live is like don't just dwell on how you're gonna die. Focus on the life you're gonna live before then. Then in the back half, we have two films again, different directors, different approaches, where the central through line of the world you are in is being held up by a corrupt and rotted system. You cannot redeem this system. Burn it down.
Yeah, it's I think they're all varying degrees of really good. I the Running Man was one where I'm shocked the reaction was so negative. That was another one where people were like, I don't think the politics of this movie are clear, and I'm like, I don't know how much clearer they have to get. All right. Every God, I'm sounding like my parents now. Get off your phones and actually watch the movie.
My phone is so interesting.
Just
Yeah.
put it away.
Enemy.
Oh.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, since you did say one last thing as far as the long walk, I think that's part of what helps per the politics discussion. That took a story which, in its original form, was Stephen King making a very, very pointed commentary on Vietnam, and they actually found a way to update that where it's like, this still reads uncomfortably relevant.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So moving on, couple of quick other 2025 stories. As we kind of mentioned a little bit with Netflix, Amelia Perez getting multiple nominations, and then all the anonymous ballots of people going, this movie's horrible, how did it get nominated? The Academy's like, all right, everybody, you have to watch these movies before nominating and voting.
Well, I mean, this is also one where this gets to a larger issue of it's been kind of an open secret that people vote on these ballots without having watched everything before them. I think the only reason that it's kind of sad that we only finally got that rule changed because it became such a debacle. It embarrassed the Academy.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally find having nominated Amelia Perez pretty embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad. We could have nominated I Saw the TV Glow, but I guess not. But good news at the Oscar. As a Sean Baker fan and someone who really loved Nora, seeing Nora win made me super happy. Also, I think we'd be remiss if we did not mention, I mean, we lost a lot of people this year. I mean, Diane Keaton, Robert Redford, but two very tragic deaths, one being Gene Hackman. The story around his death and his wife were just very sad. And then at the end of the year, the very tragic murder of Rob Reiner and his wife.
Liz, I don't want to undercut the sadness of this, but you did in fact write Gene Jackman.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Sorry.
Every time. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
That's all right. But yeah. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to move on. But yeah. So, before we get to what we loved, our disappointments of the year, again, I don't think we're going to be as vitriolic as last year. So, Ellie, explain why K-Pop Demon Hunters was your disappointment.
K-Pop Demon Hunters is a movie that got really very much hyped to me by a bunch of people who, as best I can tell, sincerely love it a lot. And they described to me a lot of qualities that it has, and then I watched the movie, and I was sitting there going, did I watch the wrong movie? Those are not there. Like, oh, I really loved the friendship between the three girls. Really? They're not really on screen ever together. They barely talk. You know, I really love this. It's not in the movie. Like, it just, like, was not the movie that was being described to me. I don't think it was that bad. It's nowhere near the worst movie I saw this year. I went into a very similar, in my opinion, better movie earlier this week, Cosmic Princess Kaguya. Completely cold, just nothing heard except someone said you might like this. And you know what? Because I had no expectations, I was a lot kinder. I was probably a lot kinder to that movie than I would have was to K-Pop Demon Hunters.
And sometimes that helps. Going in with no hype is just like, oh, pleasant, really surprised. Mine is The Shrouds. This was a bummer because I love David Cronenberg, and when Crimes of the Future came out, I'm like, oh man, we got body horror Cronenberg back. And this one, the hook was, it was really something he wrote to deal with the passing of his wife. And there are a lot of interesting ideas in here as to how this main character handles the death of his wife, how he almost sees it in some ways as a betrayal, and this idea of him wanting to possess her and possess her body, and the idea of grief kind of making you into a crazy person. My problem is the execution is just really bad. And it's really, I might even put it as it's Cronenberg's worst film. I almost put Highest to Lowest on here because that was another one where Spike Lee made some choices that I just did not like. But I will give that movie credit. In the back half of the film, it picks up and it becomes a much stronger picture, whereas The Shrouds never really came together for me.
We love Spike Lee. He always swings to the fences. Sometimes he strikes out. Often he strikes out, frankly.
I think Highest to Lowest is, at the very least, the Act 1 is a strikeout. Act 2 is I'd say, I'm like, nope, Act 2's fine. I think Act 2's great.
I will at least give Act 1 this much. The one thing that's consistently on point throughout the movie is Denzel's performance.
Well, and Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright's great too. But
yeah,
that's score. That's score. Oh my God. Anyway, Todd, why is Love Hurts your biggest disappointment?
So, likewise, I was initially in the camp of Highest to Lowest was what I considered, but again, it kind of pulls itself out. This is one where, like I said, I didn't hate this movie. I was fascinated by how it doesn't work, because you have some very talented people in your lead spots. You have Academy Award winner Ke Kwan. You have Academy Award winner Honor DeBose. These are people who, they have the talent. They can be incredibly likable. You pair them in a romantic comedy. On paper, this seems like, okay, there's something here. There is absolutely zero chemistry between these two. And considering that's your whole hook for this movie, is like you're doing this kind of action/romantic comedy, that it's like trying to go into a race where one of your wheels has already fallen off right out across the starting line.
Yeah. The only thing that I think even works remotely in this movie is the little relationship that develops between the knife-wielding assassin who loves poetry and Leo Tipton, who is Ke Kwan's assistant. They kind of just hit it off with the knife-wielding assassin and just decide, like, I'm going to go be a couple with you. That part works, but everything else is just like, nah, no.
And it's also, story-wise, it kind of feels like the romance is like, where is this even going? It barely seems to be... So much of this movie is like watching it going, did nobody at any point in this production go, something's off here. This isn't coming together. I don't know if this is a case of we're too committed to stop now or what, but it feels like any number of points where someone looked at this and should have either gone, this isn't working, we got to fix it, or it just went to, we're screwed.
Also, Ariana DeBose needs to have a good long talk with her agent, or just fire them, because I don't know what they're doing. She is an incredibly talented person. It's I mean, at least Ke Kwan got Zootopia too. But if I were both of them, I'd be like, what are you doing? Get me something better.
Yeah.
Moving on. What's your top 10?
So my top 10 are See You Soon, which is a movie that I don't remember under what circumstances I wound up watching it, but it's a very low-key, very low-stakes movie. Two women wander around Paris chatting and falling in love. It's before before sunset for lesbians. The Shallow Tale of a Writer Who Decided to Write About a Serial Killer. I saw that last year at Tribeca. It's very funny, very dark. Basically, this guy decides to write about a serial killer and ends up getting advice from an actual serial killer played by a very funny Steve Buscemi. Queens of the Dead is a zombie outbreak happens while a bunch of people are having a ball at a gay club. Katie O'Brien. I too would fight my way through a zombie apocalypse to get back to Katie O'Brien. Wake Up Dead Man, new Knives Out movie. Ryan Johnson, he gets me. Frankenstein, same thing. Guillermo del Toro, he gets me, and I like Frankenstein. Mickey 17, One Battle After Another, and Sinners, you've all heard. You're going to hear more about them from the others. Don't You Let Me Go at number 4. Another movie I saw at Tribeca, it was Uruguay's nominee for Best International Feature. It's about a woman leaving her best friend's funeral and going back to back in time to like a weekend they spent together. It's again very small scale, very tragic, very melancholy, very worth seeing. And my number one, unique to me in this group, is Marty Supreme. I don't even know if I can defend that opinion yet. It's this insane movie about a ping pong player trying desperately to get together enough money to go to Japan to play in the world final. he's a detestable piece of garbage. Every character is a detestable piece of garbage. I don't know, like 20 minutes in, I thought I was gonna hate it, but then by like the hour mark, I'm like, everything this movie is doing works for me. I love everything about it. Best movie of the year. I hate everyone here. I love this movie.
I mean, again, art is subjective. Marty Supreme for me was a movie that I understood what it was doing. I understood everything it was going for. It just was, I did not have a good time watching it. So I'm like, yeah, this just isn't for me,
Like,
apparently.
the
But I
scene,
love, which is weird because I loved Uncut Gems.
the scene with the honey is what, and that sound. It sounds. I can't describe it because it sounds insane out of context. It's kind of insane in context, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that scene, it just made like something click. I'm like, oh, I have mind melded with this movie.
This is one of the rare times where I'll say a movie fascinated me, and it's not because I'm going to follow it with for all the ways it doesn't work.
Yeah. All right, my top 10. A tie, The Long Walk. I read the book. I really thought it was a great job as an adaptation. As Todd mentioned, it modernized it. It is also tying with Oz Perkins' adaptation of The Monkey. Is The Monkey one of the best movies of the year? No, it is not. But there is a scene where a person dives into a pool, and since the pool has an electrical wire in it, they explode. There is a scene where a person like runs out of their house with their head on fire and flies into a mailbox. There is a scene where a bunch of people get decapitated by a bus. I like movies where just crazy things happen to people and the cord is cut, and this is one of those movies, so it's on my top 10. Number 9, The Librarians. It did not get a super wide release this year. It got more special engagements at theaters, but it is about the specifically in Florida and Texas, but they talk about how this is a blueprint for around the country. The fight to restrict intellectual freedom, or as more people would see it, is the fight to ban books with the Mothers for Liberty chapters. It's a really important film if you are at all interested in protecting the right to make your own decisions about what you read. And it also very clearly shows that this whole hand wringing about keeping the children safe, that is a smokescreen and a red herring. I mean, because we are seeing people, they're taking books like The Diary of Anne Frank out of school. How is that protecting children? It is not. It is to make sure people are not exposed to other experiences. Very important movie. Number 8, Sentimental Value. I really like Trier's films, and as someone who has like not a similar-ish relationship with her dad, where it's like my father wasn't a bad dad, I just have a hard time connecting with him. I don't know. This movie spoke to me. 7, it was just an accident. A really good film about a ragtag group of Iranian people who realized they may have found the person who tortured them when they were all in jail. And they are like, okay, do we have the right person? And if we have the right person, what do we do? 6, if I had legs, I'd kick you. I love a good woman goes crazy story. And I think this one is not only it's good because it's, it's made by a woman, and I think it has some insights that a movie like Woman on the Verge of a Nervous, not Woman on the Verge, oh God, the Gina Rollins one.
Woman on the Influence?
Woman Under the Influence, thank you. Woman on the Influence, I think another really good film, but I feel like this one has a little bit more insights about the invisible domestic emotional labor that women do that is just expected of them and how draining it is. There is a scene in the movie where Rose Byrne's character is talking to her husband, and he's like, oh, I'm at work. Oh, it'll be fine. Like, you just have to do X, Y, and Z. And she's like, I work too. And kind of that idea of you may be off with your job, but I'm also here full time with a job, and I have to take care of our child who is sick. So it's still not an equal partnership. Number 5, One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson's back in a big way. And man, the final chase scene of that movie is, you wouldn't think going over rolling hills in a car would be so tense, but it is. I also love that this movie, it allows its characters, while them being ultimately, like, for the most part, good people, it allows them to be flawed. It allows them to make bad choices. And even when these characters make choices that are bad, you also understand, okay, I can see why they may have done that. It allows people to be messy, because I'm sorry, That's reality. Most people are messy. Also, the idea of some leftists being very about like codes and language instead of actually helping people, I'm like, yeah, that's on point. No one makes fun of leftists more than other leftists.
I unfortunately kind of sympathize with that guy for reasons that I will not go into.
I mean, there was a great meme I saw of Leonardo DiCaprio at the phone where it's like me trying to do two-factor authentication with Gmail and an out-of-date phone number, and I'm like, yeah. Number four, No Other Choice, Park Chan-wook's new film, which is about the lengths the man will go to find a new job, but do not include maybe learning a new skill. And I'll leave it there. I love Park Chan-wook. He's one of the best directors we have working today. Also, that man has an eye for space and staging like no other director I've seen. Number three, Sorry Baby. A24 completely fumbled the release of this film. It is about someone who has a very traumatic experience while in graduate school and how they deal with it. Ava Victor, who wrote the film and directed the film and stars in it, is just an amazing performance. And there is a scene with them and um, John Carroll Lynch about late in the film where their character's having a panic attack and he's just trying to help him out and is like, okay, you want me to make you a sandwich? And it's just a beautiful scene of showing simple humanity to another person that I'm like, oh God, I love this movie so much. Physical release, please. Number two, Sinners. Yeah, we've already talked about it. It's great. And number one is Eddington. Similar to how Ellie said that she just locked into Marty Supreme, that's me with Eddington, and that's me with Ari Aster. I think I just put it as he does not make movies for everybody, but he makes movies for me. And a couple of honorable mentions: Begonia, Frankenstein, Mickey 17, the Brazilian film The Secret Agent. I also wanted to give a shout out to this nice little kind of romantic comedy called The Baltimoreans. It's about a guy has a dental emergency. A dentist comes in to fix his teeth, and they end up kind of just spending time together and having a connection. And the way the movie ends is you don't quite know where things are going to go because this lady's like, what does this improv comedian really see in me? And do I even want to deal with this? But they both like each other, and it's a really sweet film. I would say seek it out if you can. And Todd, your top 10.
So some of these I'll be kind of skimming over because we've already discussed them, but starting at number 10, we have Secret Mall Apartment, which was a very pleasant surprise documentary and from last year. This is one which, both just in terms of I cannot believe this was a real thing that happened, and also as a kind of timely story, this is because the whole thing is loosely based. The whole thing is it's covering a group of people who found it was a literal just empty space in a mall where they went, as a kind of a project, we are going to turn this into a living space. And they actually went to like, they got it furnished, they got power running through it. They actually turned this into like a regular hangout spot for them before they got caught by sheer happenstance by a security guard. And it's one where it is interesting because, especially the way the documentary frames it as this was a neighborhood for a lot of like artists and creators that basically got bought out by people who want to put in a mall. And the idea of some of the people from that old neighborhood essentially kind of reclaiming a little spot in the middle of all that. Again, we didn't put it on the film gets political, but in a way, it would fit on that slide.
All art is political.
I mean,
Also,
yes.
yes. The Long Walk, again, to slightly elaborate more, they took a story which was Stephen King very blatantly talking about Vietnam and turned it into it's both a very faithful adaptation, but also modifies it in a way where this turns into a very grim commentary on capital at a time where it really plays well for that. Number 8, Bugonia, which we didn't touch on this as much, but another where, from a political standpoint, this is one of the main thrusts of this story is at the center of it. For anybody who's not familiar, Jesse Plemons plays this conspiracy theorist who is absolutely certain that this woman who's running a corporation is secretly an alien from a race that he believes is out to destroy humanity. I will not go into too much detail beyond saying one of the main thrusts of this story is basically seeing how one man processes a lot of the hurt in his life, going down a conspiracy rabbit hole that leads him to fail to realize he is fast becoming the own monster. He's becoming the monster at the heart of his own story.
Yeah, I think we should just leave it there with that.
Mm-hmm.
Sentimental value we've already kind of touched on. There is something. This is kind of going back to my pick of Ghostlight the previous year. That idea of how people convey themselves through art, and this is admittedly a little bit. This is a little bit of a. I don't want to say a more cynical look at it. It was like because there is some genuine heart there, but is the idea of how do you talk to somebody when it seems like their art is the only way they really know how to connect with you. The Secret Agent, going into this a little bit more, is this is one of those films it took me a little while to really fully come around to it because the framing of it's a little jarring at first, but once you get into it, it is a really interesting idea of this movie that kind of go in knowing as little as possible, just sit yourself down with it, let it unfold itself, and just go along for the ride. One battle after another, again, pretty much we've gone into everything we need to say about this one. Ditto Eddington. No other choice. What has Park Chan-wook got to do to finally get the Academy to actually recognize him? The fact this was not on the list for best editing, I'm still not over.
Yeah.
Again, this was another where last year as soon as I heard about it, it's like it's Park Chan-wook doing black comedy. I am incredibly in for this. I stretched my normal pencils down rule in order to make sure I got to see this before I closed the door. Sinners, again, what else can be said? This was the critical audience. This was the touches all points crowd pleaser of the year
The movie of the year.
Deservedly so. It was just an accident. Going off of some of what was discussed with that premise, one of the things I find genuinely very fascinating about this movie is this film is a total balancing act that is dancing on a very fine wire because on the one hand, yes, this is a story which has some very dark underpinnings. This is a group of people who they were brutalized by their government, and now this one guy it's like in trying to get confirmation that this is the man he thinks it is. He is inadvertently opening up a lot of old wounds, and you kind of watch the people who, at first, it seems like they're ready to move on until they hear this man's name and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 what? No, no, we're not walking away from this. If this is the guy, I want to know." And the thing to keep in mind is, despite all this, this movie is also, while keeping one foot firmly planted in the fact it's a dark background, it is a comedy. This is very much a comedy of errors. Just again, it doesn't try to make light of what happened to these people, but it is the growing absurdity of just okay, what's going to go wrong now, and all of it's being propelled by the fact that the protagonist made one snap decision, and he has spent the rest of the movie just pushed on by the idea of, what if I'm wrong? What if I have just grabbed some guy who had absolutely nothing to do with what I've been through, and I'm about to commit murder? And the movie never actually answers the question, which I'll just say, I'll leave it at that, and it's worth seeing how it pays it off. Honorable mentions, we've already touched on Mickey 17. The Phoenician Scheme, I know a lot of later Wes Anderson hasn't been vibing for people quite as much as the early stuff. I have been enjoying it, and in particular, I kind of like the fact that this is Wes Anderson telling a story about a character who is really, when it comes down to it, just a complete. I will flex the language slightly and just say, Zsa Zsa Korda is a complete bastard, and it's kind of one of the things I like.
Come on, this is my job.
I kind of like the fact the film doesn't really shy away from that, though. It's like, even at the end, he doesn't magically become a good person. He's just slightly less of a jerk to the people in his immediate circle. The Life of Chuck, I'll just say, this is one of those cases of, it managed to be both a faithful adaptation and arguably a better adaptation just because it fine-tunes the narrative, the narrative thematic points in a way that, if you've ever read the original story, you'll get what I mean when you see the film. And Frankenstein, again, is this still Toro's best? No, but it is still a very strong movie for what it is.
Mm-hmm. And since would you mind terribly if I did my honorable mentions, since I apparently forgot to send them to you?
Oh, sure, yeah, go ahead.
So I just had 3. Wicked for Good. Shut up.
No, it's fine.
I really liked Friendship. It's an extended.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
It's an extended. I think you should leave sketch. I think you should leave. I think it's very funny. Yeah. I think it's very awkward. And you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. The remake of The Wedding Banquet. Kelly Marie Tran.
So cute.
That was another solid one.
Kelly Marie Tran, Lily Gladstone. I would die for both of you.
So
Also, are you weird? Are you single? Do you date weird trans girls?
I loved Kelly Marie Tran and Lily Gladstone so much. I'm just like protect them both. Also,
Mm,
great Joan Chen performance too.
great John Gunn performance.
Also, it's not on any of our lists, but I did. I mean, I wanted to shout out. I did think Hamnet was really good. Although I think for me the reason it's not on the list is the first two halves are good, and then the third act is amazing. But for me, I'm like, it's kind of it's not bad. I just like these a little more. But Jessie
I,
Buckley is an amazing actress, and I look forward to her coronation on March 15th.
I need to go see that. So I haven't seen it.
I mean, it's worth it just for her alone, but also Palm Skull playing Shakespeare too. But God, Jessie Buckley, I think it is
Jessie
physically
Buckley.
impossible for her to give a bad performance. She's so good. And what are we looking forward to in 2026? I know if all things go well, Dune Part 3 is coming out. I'm looking forward to Wuthering Heights. I don't know about you, but
I'm kind of excited for The Bride. I'm really
yeah.
excited for Mother Mary. I'm not gonna lie to
Yes.
you. Uh,
Also, I'm going to say this. I really liked the book. I really have high hopes for Project Hail Mary. And
The
Julie
trailers look promising.
Julie Ducournau, who made Titane and Raw, has a new movie out called Alpha. I will be seeing Alpha. Like Ari Aster, she doesn't make movies for everyone, but she makes movies for me.
and me.
So,
Yeah.
I'll put myself out there. I'm kind of interested in Supergirl.
Yeah,
Uh,
same. It looks
I like
cute.
Millie Alcock.
so there are two that did not make this list that I do feel need to shout out. Although one we've already we did get it and it did match up to the hype. That was 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other, which is not on here, and I am hoping we get it over here in time for to count for this year, is Godzilla minus zero.
I think we
Mm.
are. I think they confirmed they're getting a November 2026 release date in the United States.
And let's just all say it together. We're all really excited for Werewolf.
Yes, we are. Robert
Yes.
Eggers. New Hampshire's own Robert Eggers.
It's like, come on, Ralph Ineson, you've got your Dracula, you've got your Frankenstein. Get your werewolf movie.
Yeah. Also, we did not talk about it, but we'll say briefly. Christopher Nolan's back with the Odyssey. I mean, we're all gonna go see that, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all
I,
going.
I have friends who were like historians for that time period who were being really annoying about it, but I don't care.
I mean, it's the Odyssey. It is not actually a story I'm expecting to be rooted in fiction. I just want to see Christopher Nolan take that swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's. I do not. If he has said he's not going for like complete historical accuracy with this movie, so I'm like, okay, yeah, go ahead, go nuts.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's like, look, I'm here. I'm sorry. Here we're gonna do one of these based in It's like in actual historical accuracy. And my first thought is, isn't that the kind of logic that gave us Troy?
That sure was a movie. It's a movie that exists.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters.
And I'm just gonna say I have tempered hopes for Disclosure Day. Usually when Steven Spielberg works with aliens, the movie's pretty good. So
I don't.
also Josh O'Connor's in it, and as is Emily Blunt, and I like both of them. I will watch
Yeah.
them in the movie.
I'm not. I don't need to say that I'm excited for a Steven Spielberg movie. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. What am I gonna do? Am I a person?
I mean, yeah, no, I was a little, the Fablemans left me cold, but I did love West Side Story. So and also I'm like, if you look at his track record, the only major real whiff he has had in like the past, I would say 2 decades would be Ready Player One. So I'm like, no, his track record's fine. I'll watch it. I'll watch this.
Yeah,
Also, a
yeah,
movie that I saw in theaters.
I'm sorry.
that was, AKA end.
All right, and with that, speaking of sentimental value.
Do not watch that movie to understand women maternal relations. Do not watch that movie.
I just want to say, based off the screenshot, there's a number of people I'd be happy to take Best Supporting Actor. I am really hoping this is Stellan Skarsgård's year because this is just such a wonderfully kind of awful person he's playing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Stellan Skarsgård is, I mean, everyone is good in sentimental value. If you have not gotten a chance to see it, absolutely do so. I can never say her name. It's Renate Revis. Revise,
Yeah.
the Norwegian actress who is also in Worst Person in the World. She's
Amazing movie.
phenomenal.
Unfortunately, unless someone has a question that they want to ask me, I should probably go because I have not eaten dinner yet.
Oh yeah, same. And we have to go clean off our car and shovel.
Oh, fun.
Gotta
Any
love
questions
winter.
for me?
Our well, we will see you next month when I'm going to be talking about Cicely Tyson. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.